think we're good, Brandon. All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffco JESPA negotiations session on June 3rd, 2025. We are scheduled to meet this evening, 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., and we are in the Ed Center in the boardroom at the Ed Center, vice versa. Welcome to everyone who has joined us in the audience and everyone who is watching online. Before we start into our agenda, we'll go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Amanda Perazio. I am the Chief Human Resource Officer for Jeffco, and since Mike just grabbed the mic, I will go to the left.
Mike Hins, Director of Fleet Services.
Good evening, I'm Katie Jeter, Director of Resources for Food Service.
Jessica Goodkin, Director of Special Education.
Brandon Root, Dispatch Manager.
Tiffany Beestrom, Paraeducator at Sebeski and Building Rep.
Vicki Flores, JESPA Staff.
Darcy Hassler, Paraprofessional and JESPA Bargaining Chair.
Xander Kashub, Food Service Worker and JESPA President.
Sarah Smith, Preschool President of JCPK.
Nikki Saunders, Health Tech, Seacrest Elementary.
Tanya Lopez, Director of Professional Learning.
Suanne Hawley, Director of Early Learning.
I didn't know which mic to grab. Jen Christensen, Director of Labor Relations.
All right, welcome again, everyone. So tonight we have a kind of a blank agenda, and so we will turn it over to you to let us know how you would like to proceed with regard to order of articles, caucuses, and all the things.
So according to what we have outstanding articles on recognition and bargaining unit work, staffing article, safety article, Article 3, bargaining and negotiations, Article 6, compensation, Article 13, transportation, Article 1, definitions, and Article 16, food service. As we see it, just confirming that we had asked questions about the pre-K wage schedule to you all, so we see that in your court, not our court. And then you have Article 8 leaves, and then the joint benefits with JCEA. So I just wanted to see if that was correct or not before what we're going to go through.
We actually, we recall you presenting back to us some pieces of the leaves article, but we never actually, they were kind of contingent upon, like, if you can agree to this in 6, then we can agree to this in 8, but we never received the actual, it was just kind of a conversation. It wasn't a final proposal, and so we didn't get the language back because we weren't sure if you were done with it, and honestly, I can't remember what all 3 of those changes were.
Okay, fair enough, and I have those notes here as well.
And then the preschool wage schedule, as part of Article 6, we can certainly, I haven't quite gotten to it yet, but we can certainly add in your question was around current employees, existing employees who do not fall within one of those 4 categories. Where did they live on the schedule?
Correct. Right. You said that you were going to make some notes or something. Yes. We didn't know if you were going to bring that this evening or not.
So I don't have it yet, but we certainly can.
Just wanted to be as communicative as possible on this.
Thank you.
So in terms of what we're proposing is that we can go ahead and, excuse me, TA Article 13, Jeffco version India. As well as a TA on the safety article, Jeffco Juliet. However, we still have a question from 527 on 4.3, where it says the district prevention and intervention manual. We had highlighted manual. We believe it's matrix, but just wanted to draw the attention to that, whatever the correct word is there.
You're actually correct. It is manual. The discipline matrix lives within the prevention and intervention manual. So they're 2 different things, but similar documents.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that was the only thing that we still had theoretically outstanding, but easily solvable with a communication. So starting off with 2 TAs, and I noticed that Jen brought over all the other TAs that was also on my list to ask for. The sick leave bank that we did back on January 21st, I know it's in the Teams folder, but I don't have the paper for that. And I didn't want to just print it out myself without our double signature as well, so just wanted to bring that to the attention. Next, Article 12 you brought over. Okay, on 3X staffing. If we could get into sharing some language on that. We have some questions on the days worked that we talked about previously. For instance, paraprofessionals, our workday calendar is 175, but when I print out my job description, it says it's a D181, and when I contacted Labor Relations, I have an email that says I have 181 work days. So we just need for more communication and clarification about that before we counter. It's confusing. And then moving on to, did you want to say something, Jen, or no? Okay. And then moving on to the recognition article, the only change that you all had made was the solely tuition-based program personnel. And we have concerns about having that phrased in the exclusion portion. You had said, go ahead and have them organize and hold elections. So we're thinking maybe an MOU that addresses that would be the way to go, rather than keeping that group excluded.
I was actually going to ask if you had any interest in including language that talked about how groups get into the association aligned to that policy as far as like the elections. Otherwise, I mean, certainly we're open to an MOU instead.
It's specifically regarding SAE or the however it's worded, the tuition-based program personnel. We drafted an MOU that just says it's kind of despite this exclusion, the conflict in like if they went for an election and then the district used the exclusion to deny them that right. So we want to clarify just that part. And then we believe that potentially the other language we've already agreed to in terms of defining our bargaining unit would help define any new positions added outside of that, but didn't go beyond like SAE, and then newly added are already addressed. I don't think there's any other big groups that are unrepresented besides SAE. Is that fair to assume? It's more like traditionally excluded subs or temporary workers, which are already defined as excluded.
Correct. I think that there are a couple job codes that are out there that are not under the bargaining unit right now, such as unskilled laborers and skilled laborers, and those two, because they may be working a whatever your work year calendar, they would be considered hourly and they would be brought in. So there's, but
Right.
they're not a large group.
Right, okay.
So I just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you.
Do we want to present the MOU?
Yeah, would you like to see it on the screen? It's just a short kind of note at the top, and then it references the exact policy.
So member of understanding between the Jefferson County School District R1 and the Jeffco Education Support Professionals Association, JESPA, regarding inclusion of solely tuition-based program personnel, because that's the language that's proposed. The memorandum of understanding, MOU, is made and entered into by and between Jefferson County School District R1, the district, and the Jeffco Education Support Professionals Association, JESPA, or the association. Solely tuition-based program personnel are not currently included in the bargaining unit. However, should these employees elect representation by a majority vote, the district and JESPA agree to amend this agreement to include them within the bargaining unit and extend full rights and protections under this agreement subject to negotiations. Purpose: to clarify the process by which solely tuition-based program personnel may be included in the JESPA bargaining unit in accordance with the current district policy as referenced below. Agreement: solely tuition-based program personnel are not currently included in the bargaining unit. However, should these employees elect representation by a majority vote, the district and JESPA agree to amend the collective bargaining agreement to include them within the bargaining unit and extend full rights and protections under the collective bargaining agreement. Reference to district policy HA, this MOU affirms and is consistent with the district policy HA, which states the district, and it's just quotes from the policy. This MOU shall remain in effect unless and until amended by mutual agreement.
I think it's assumed that you would notify us if a certification election took place and they became part of your bargaining unit by, I'm not sure what the exact vote has to be, if it's 50% plus one or how that exactly comes to be. And then we would just agree to amend this section, and it wouldn't necessarily be, like, if we don't negotiate next year and SAE organizes and follows all of these procedures, we would just modify this by agreement and by the language of this MOU, and we wouldn't necessarily have to reopen it for negotiation.
I think what we would be proposing is that we would just strike the exclusion.
Exactly.
And that they would be included.
Got it.
And have all the same rights.
Perfect. And I assume that would just happen in the collaborative work group. You would let Jen and Jennifer know, and then we would make it happen and make notification, because obviously to reprint all of the CBAs without any other changes would be really challenging, but it's very easy to black marker it.
And again, we're just trying to protect any inconsistencies or interpretations from future people.
Absolutely. I really appreciate this. I think this is really well worded and outlines exactly what would be expected, and that makes sense. When policy's followed, that's what we do.
Do you want me to reiterate on Article 8 what our comments were? Would that be helpful?
And when you send over the MOU language, if you could send over I assume that you had highlighted the 3 changes that you had indicated in the leaves article.
That's a good question.
I remember you talking about it, but I just can't remember if there was actual language changes.
I wonder if at a caucus, I think what you said was correct in that we kind of made this, if we accept this language, what we're asking for actually goes in Article 6. But we didn't propose Article 6. So we could caucus and write that out of where it would go, which we proposed it to be in, I think, 6.6 call and pay, to clear up that when you're called up in outside of your work days, that you would earn time and a half.
That was it.
Yeah, so we'll go back, look at 8 and make edits to 6, just that section, and then send them both to you when we come back to the table. That work? Okay.
Sorry, one more point of clarification. With regard to the recognition article, was there anything else besides that last statement around the solely tuition-based that we needed to also review? Or was that the last thing?
That was the only thing that was highlighted.
Okay, and so I would assume that if we are in agreement with that MOU, we could actually get to a TA on recognition and staffing as well.
Correct.
Okay, so as soon as we have an opportunity to review the MOU, I don't have any concerns, just based on what you read. I don't see any reason why we can't move forward with that one this evening as well.
Darcy, I'm so sorry, but I think in 3X staffing, was that correct? You had mentioned that you need some clarification around some things. Can you please tell us again, and so that we can bring that back to you? I wasn't quite understanding what you needed from us.
Well, again, the days worked calendar for parapros is 175, and that's the no fewer than in our proposal in 1.2. And yet, when I look at parapro job descriptions, it says D181. So I sent an email, and the email got back says your work days should be 181, because that's what D181 means, is the number of days you work. I can forward that email to you if you would like, but
Yes, we'll need to see that email. So what our understanding is that it's 175 days worked. And prior to having those holidays pulled out, whenever that was bargained, I think that was a couple years ago, those 6 holidays were included. So that is what makes your 181. However, you now have 7 holidays, so that really should be 182 if that's really what we're looking at. So it's 175 days worked plus your holidays. And so it is really not 181. I would love to see the email that was sent to you so that we can gain clarification on that as well. And just so you know, too, I did take your concern regarding that report with the plan days, and they're reworking that for you so that you can see what that actually looks like.
Yeah, I think just so we're clear, when we look at the bargaining unit list of every employee and jobs, the minimum days on what we see is 178, not 175. And so I think through discussion, it seemed like there's inconsistency in whether the plan days that calculate pay are inclusive of holidays or not, and whether they have the correct number of holidays added. And so the concern that I think we'd like to clarify, and that we're trying to get at, is, are people being paid the correct number of days plus the correct number of holidays, and for consistency across the bargaining unit in terms of that calculation? Because the way we cost and calculate and make sure people are paid relies on that, what the district says the days are. And I think our costing is consistent, and so we're worried something's missing from pay, potentially.
So what type of information would you like from us to bring back so that you feel comfortable with the 175 work days? Because that is, that paraprofessional, I understand what you're saying, 100%. So what is it that you need from us so that we can?
I think what you started to say is that you were going to look at that plan days column and make it inclusive. Is it inclusive of the work days plus the holidays, or however, whatever your explanation is for that might help us figure out where to go?
It's going to be the actual work days. And then it will be plus then whatever your holidays are, because each, different job code might have a different holiday. So those that are working year round get the extra 2. So it just will depend.
Okay. That might help for now unless we have further questions.
So it sounds like a caucus for us to get information to you and you to get information to us is what I'm hearing.
We can do that. Are there any other articles that you want, that are quick, that you want to present to us that we can work on to get back to you? Or do you need some time to review those as well?
We're going to need some time for that information for staffing. We need to look over definitions and possibly add some for our own. Again, that's the continued flexibility of that document.
All right. Sounds good. How much time would work well?
Say half hour. We're looking at a half hour, so 6:30.
Okay.
Does that
Sounds
give
good.
you?
Yep. We will get back, or we'll see everyone back rather at 6:30. right, welcome back, everyone. Thank you for the patience as we needed just a little bit more time. Believe it or not, there's a lot of historical information that feeds these answers. And so we have a couple of pieces of information that we're happy to share with you, unless there's something that you would like to start with. We also have the MOU. We just added a sentence to make sure that it applied beyond like just 1 year, if you will.
Feel free to carry on.
Okay. So I will, if it's okay with you, actually, Jen okay, Jen is going to try to get into the thing so we can just put this MOU up real quick. Yeah, if you could. I just don't have the Teams link. And then I'm happy to put it on the... Jen doesn't invite me to the Teams link anymore. Got it. Okay. So... Andrew's also in. Perfect. Where are you, MOU? Here it is. Okay, so we just added a couple of quick things. So we did add the word Jeffco Public Schools, just because that's often how we're referred to. And so I think you might have had, you just had or the district, or just had the district in. So we just added Jeffco Public Schools, because that's oftentimes what it reads. And then we also added this final sentence down below. This modification shall not affect any other provisions of the collective bargaining agreement, shall not be considered precedent setting, and shall remain in effect unless and until amended by mutual agreement. So this language is typical language that we've been including in MOUs, just to be really clear that it is really related exactly to this and not to other components. Other things aren't open for bargaining except by mutual agreement, as outlined in Article 3. And so those modifications are the only ones we made. And then Jennifer said if and when you are amenable to this, she's more than happy to sign it and send it right back to us tonight. So I will have Jen send this over to you.
We would love to receive that and sign it.
Perfect. And we'll unhighlight the things, or you can unhighlight the things actually, just in case there's anything you wanted us to review. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Okay. The other thing that we want to share with you is around the job, the days worked. The question that you asked regarding days worked, specifically the job code that's currently listed, or the job description that's currently listed, is 181-day paraprofessional. So we're very fortunate. Our compensation manager was still here and available to give us some information. So the job description and the days worked on the job description was actually modified back in 2005. And it has not been modified for 20 years. So believe it or not, back in 2005, we aren't exactly sure if paraprofessionals worked 181 days, if the previous people who did all the calculations added in holidays to their days worked calendar. We unfortunately don't have that 20-year historical perspective at our fingertips. And so, but the fact that it hasn't changed for 20 years, I get it, is annoying and misleading and misguided. And so here's what I will tell you. Today, there are 171 student contact days, which I think everyone is aware of, and that was a result of the JCEA agreement, which was effective in the 23-24 school year. It started with 4 additional non-contact days for elementary and middle school and K-8 students. And so in that 23-24 school year, all those schools went down from 175 student contact days, so there were 10 non-contact days that were considered teacher work days or professional learning days. Those got modified down to 171, really for those elementary, middle schools that did not have as much planning time as high schools. And so they gave 4 additional days, just for a little bit more historical context. The year prior, I believe at mediation, they agreed to 3 days for elementary and K-8 and middle. Then in negotiations the following year, we codified that into language for 4 additional days. The following year, 25-26, this school year, 24-25, we added that for all schools. So now all schools, pre-K through 12th grade, regardless of the type of school, where the school's at, they all have 171 student contact days. One of the things that we agreed to, and I wasn't at the JESPA table, so I don't know how this worked out, or if it just kind of worked out with JESPA and Human Resources, was that we were not going to reduce paraprofessional work days by those 4 days. So there was a time where paraprofessionals were working 175 days and students were there 175 days. So they were not getting additional days for professional learning, training, planning, preparation with teachers, etc. So we agreed that we would not reduce from 175 to 171, and that paraprofessionals would maintain those 4 days and be offered the opportunity, fortunately with the support of Dr. Lopez, the opportunity to engage in professional learning that's optional, supporting teachers with planning, preparing for the beginning of the school year. And so those days have been codified into calendars, as you're aware, if you happen to be one of those individuals. They exist in August, January, March and April. So there are 4 professional learning days. There are 14 professional learning days, but those 4 paraprofessionals are also afforded the opportunity to work. They cannot be told that they can't work. That's something that used to be a confusion with principals. They didn't realize that. They can take vacation if they want, but those 4 days are built into the calendar. Additionally, separate from the inaccurately listed number of work days, there are 7 paid holidays for this particular group of employees, and once we get to ratification of this particular agreement, there will be an 8th holiday for school-based employees. And so the other thing that we want you to know is that regarding this and any other of these job description days worked, plan days is the title of the column, this summer, work will be done for all job descriptions and days worked to be under review and revision. It is not our intent to confuse people by putting holidays into those and calling them work days or plan days. Our intent is to just have that column called work days, and of course using your collective bargaining agreement as the driver for which holidays are paid, that can then be posted on the website so that people are aware of, if this is my job code or my job description, these are my holidays. There is no intention, just so you're aware, under this review and revision to unilaterally modify any work days. If there are any discrepancies found, that would then be brought to the department manager, to labor relations, and to JESPA for review. So for example, if we find someone whose job description says 180, but their department manager says, well, they've been working 175 for 10 years, then we will bring that to JESPA, bring that to the department manager, bring it to labor relations, and make sure we have a collaborative conversation around this is what it says and this is what reality is, so that we can fix those together. But our intent is not to reduce days worked unilaterally. It is not to impact compensation or wages. It is just to make sure that these are accurate before we move into the new system. Sorry, that was a really long-winded answer, but it was a lot of historical lesson that we just got. Oh, the email, yes. So one of my employees responded to Darcy about the plan days, or she called them something else, days worked essentially, and she said paraprofessionals do work 181 days. She's wrong. And I'll tell her that tomorrow. But I mean, all she's doing is looking at the exact report that we were talking about the other day, and she's seeing 181. But I mean, I've been an administrator as a principal for 6 years, and I never had a paraprofessional working 181, and that was 13 years ago. So 20 years ago, I was a teacher, and I have no idea what paras worked.
I wasn't starting in 2005, but I did start in 2006. We only worked the days the students were there.
Yeah, and back
So
then,
if it was a non-contact day, even some of the assessment days, so.
and back then, so teachers have always worked 180, teachers used to work 186 back then, 187. This is me making things up as I go, I'm just kidding. I was a teacher, we used to work 187, and we got those 2 comp days off. And then we switched the calendar, and we worked 185, and so students always went to school fewer than 185. I would have to look historically, and I can ask another colleague that, how many, like when did our student contact days change? But that's great to know. And so now I feel like we're doing the right thing by giving you 4 days to actually learn and engage and plan. But it's good historical information. And I'm sorry that our system has not been updated every year. I mean, I think these things have changed more often than we even know.
I would agree with that, and I'm just glad that paraprofessionals have a day's worked calendar now, because we haven't forever.
Hear, hear. One other answer to a question that you asked, and we are more than happy to propose this back in language once we have Article 6 back. But with regard to the preschool salary schedule, a couple of things. First of all, we want you to know that ECIs are actually included in the 2 lines that would say new ECE partner prorated and new ECE partner hourly. And so
Can you say that one more time?
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I can even put it up. Would it be helpful for me to, okay. Sorry about that. So, in these first 2 lines, let me try to make it bigger for everyone to see. Boop, 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 boop. In these 2 lines, these are just salary grade descriptions. They're not actually intended to be inclusionary or exclusive of any particular group. It's just how the grade is described. It's actually not even aligned to the job description itself. And so what we would be amenable to doing, because these 2 lines do include ECIs as well, we can rename this so that the description is inclusive of ECE, ECI. So we could do like a /ECI if that would be helpful, because we certainly don't want people to feel like they can't find themselves on the grade. Typically, they would have to find this, like the special letters and numbers. It's very confusing for me to find people's salaries on the JESPA salary grades, but it makes sense to other people, so that works. The other thing that we wanted to address is that we acknowledge there are people who live on the salary schedule right now between steps 21 and 25. So typically what would happen when we modify a salary schedule, and there are people who live beyond it. So they are above these grades, or these ranges, this top salary, these wages, we would, what we call red circle them, and they would not get a step, which if they're on step 25, they wouldn't get a step anyway, but what we would be amenable to is providing them a COLA, which we don't currently do for all employee groups. And so we could write a note potentially at the bottom of this saying, anyone who was on step 21 through 25, when this new salary schedule was implemented in the 25-26 school year, will receive COLA or any kind of negotiated COLA until the salary schedule catches up with them, at which time they would potentially, if by chance step 16 caught up to them, they would start moving again with the salary schedule, or rather step 20 would catch up to them because they'd be so far beyond, and then they would start moving again with step 20. So COLAs are applied to the steps. Essentially, they'd just be getting COLA forever, because even if you're on 25, you don't get a step. So we believe there are 4 people who are outside of that step 20. I couldn't tell you who those 4 are. I'm sure one of them knows who she is. But those 4 people, we would certainly notify specifically, and we could make a note that until those people choose to leave or choose to get a different job, they will just get COLA annually instead of being stuck at their rate forever. Is that a helpful description? If there was any other jobs that you felt were missing from this, will you let us know that also? Any other roles? The only one we remembered was ECI.
We'll go ahead and do 8, and then we'll need a short caucus. And you're driving. Based on the information you presented, we might need to change something.
Okay, we just tried to capture the proposal so it was clear. In this version of Article 8, accepting all of your last changes, and then we added the proposal in order to accept these changes, which would eliminate, I think the 260 is somewhere in here. What we'd want to clarify, so all the way under, is that call-in pay. So this is just defining what it is to open. We didn't go back and forth on this section of Article 6 at all. So the substance is really 662, is to clarify that all call-in pay shall be compensated at 1 1/2 times the employee's regular hourly rate. So the current Article 6.6 calls out that call-in pay gives you a certain minimum number of hours. This adds the requirement for it to be paid at time and a half.
So 661, what's written down below and not highlighted, that's current language, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And then did you highlight above the 3 things or 1 thing or that you said you would agree to if?
I think it was, no.
It was your last proposal, and we said we can agree to all of this if
Thank you.
we get that.
Okay.
It was the 4 days, the 16 hours versus 2 days on personal leave. Sorry, I'll clarify the 4 days on winter break. The 16 hours versus 2 days, except for bus drivers, in the table. And then the 260 in the table and in the notes below.
Okay, thank you.
Which was basically your last proposal. We accept if we do this.
Sounds good. We will review it and try to get it back to you.
May I ask a clarification on that? So when we met last time, I believe that the suggestion was the call-in pay was going to be at 1.5 times just for those that are called in during winter break. So are you stating now that you want it for all call-in pay?
I think we're trying to capture what practice is anyway, which is you generally, if you're called in outside of your normal work schedule, you're getting time and a half, but it wasn't clear for that week because you haven't worked any other hours. So I think we're saying the same thing. So that week that is between Christmas and New Year, you wouldn't have worked any other hours, which was making it so when FMs or maintenance were called in, they were paid at regular rate instead of what they had normally been paid before the change to the days worked calendar.
Did the minimum 3 hours, that was for travel time, and did the minimum 3 hours include the time that they were doing a building check, for example?
The minimum 3 hours is just what's existed. So anytime you're called in outside of, like, whether it's to plow snow overnight, if it's not on during your regularly scheduled work time, you would get the minimum of 3 hours.
So if they, I'm trying to think of like a facility manager who's called in to do a building check, and maybe some of our facility managers might be able to help me. If you're called in to do a building check between Christmas and New Year's, and it takes you 2 hours, including travel time, you get paid a minimum of 3. If it takes you 4 hours, you get paid 4.
Yes.
But you're not getting paid the minimum 3 hours plus the time it took you. So let's say it only takes you 90 minutes. You're not getting paid 3 hours plus the 90 minutes that it took you. I'm sorry, I know that sounds really dumb. I'm just wondering, is it like minimum and then the time it took you to actually do the work?
Jen might know better than
No.
I do from looking at the payroll, but I think they were just paid time and a half for the time that they would be paid for.
So for in that case, for winter break, you are correct. It would have been time and a half. That is prior practice. I'm just wanting to be clear that this written language kind of represents that we're stating that if they aren't getting overtime during that week, and it could be any week, that we're saying time and a half. Whereas I believe that originally it was just during that winter break time. That's all I'm trying to gather. Because let's say it's in March. They didn't have a 40-hour week for whatever reason, I don't know. And then they got called in on a Saturday or whatever, and only part of that was calculating into overtime. What we're saying in that language is that it's not just for winter break, and so that was my concern.
Yes,
what I
thank
was
you.
asking about.
Yes, so we thought this was a fair proposal to make in order to accept the changes on 246 and not continue down to fight for those 4 holidays back on the calendar, that it would be fair that any employee that is called in on a Saturday outside of their continuous workday should also earn time and a half on call-in pay to make it easy and equitable. Whether or not you hit, like if you had 35 hours during the week, it's still one of those things that is an inconvenience for an employee to be able to come in for an emergency. I don't know if it happens very often, like in the food service, to come in on a Saturday, how often that happens.
Often, but we do have some employees who may be called in on a Saturday, if like a freezer goes down or something like
Yeah.
that. But it doesn't happen often that our warehouse guys are called. It's usually Jerry or someone.
So, yeah, and when it's equipment, it's probably a 40-hour-a-week employee going out to do it. So I don't know that many part-time employees get called in, but it would seem fair if for some reason somebody did. I wouldn't imagine that happening, that they would also earn time and a half on a Saturday.
Thank you. When you send that over to us, we will review it and see if I can get to some type of agreement on that one. Darcy, did you want to go ahead and go into caucus now, or was there anything else before you said you needed a short caucus?
Yeah, we'll take that now.
Perfect. 20, 30, 40?
15?
Oh, 15 minutes? Okay. So we'll be back here around 7:35. All right. Thank you, Brandon, for taking us offline. All right, we are back. Thank you everyone for your patience, and I will turn it over to JESPA.
We had,
Please hold everyone. Slight technical difficulty with Teams, believe it or not.
so we have, before he presents, just getting a little background. So we have 3 changes, and one of them is because of conversations of what we just had. We wanted to make sure to capture some of that information in our agreement going forward. So it's a little bit of a wrinkle. Don't freak out when you see it.
What we were trying to do too is like capture the minimum and spell it out in a way that I think captures current practice and clarify it, because it's a little confusing. And because we were confused about the days worked plus the holidays, we're attempting to clear the confusion, capture the practice, et cetera. Do you want to?
So the first one is down at number 3 under staffing levels. You had proposed and will be shared our changes in the lavender orchid, where it said JESPA may request all data and methodologies, and we just want to be real positive that JESPA will be provided. Because if you say we request, you can always deny, and we just want to be really clear about that. JESPA will be provided, and then at the end of the sentence, striking with the association, because we already had JESPA up top, and we just feel that reads better that way. And then to capture the information is in 1.1, again in the lavender orchid color, adding the sentence, ESP workday calendars for all job codes will be listed in Appendix E, brand new appendix, just so that there's, again, clarity. So then changing that numbering, instead of 1.1 being ESPs assigned year-round, that's 1.1.1. Numbering 1.1.2, oh, and I noticed there's a extra period there for school-based employees. And then what Vicki was saying on capturing, school-based ESPs will have a consistent work year calendar determined by their job code and shall be no fewer than, we had 175, and you had highlighted in addition to holidays, so the new language is no fewer than student contact days plus 4 professional learning days. Again, just trying to specify and clarify what that is.
So when we're including a new appendix in E, what we're trying to get at too is that would include work days, holidays for those individual jobs, just to make it clear that this job has these days plus these holidays, just to be as clear as possible in an appendix what those days include, so not just to include the work days.
I have a quick clarification on that. You're not asking for the complete calendar. You're just asking for the work days plus the holiday days for a total of how many days during the school year or whatever. Is that what, you're not asking for the actual table of, okay. That's what I was just making sure.
A table of each job code or job type, job title, and
I understand. Yeah. Similar to the list that we give you, just not broken down by employee.
Yes.
Sue Ann, you had, no? Yes, those are the changes on staffing.
I'm just double checking on job codes. I feel like there could be hundreds, and so, but I believe there are 17 or 19 work day calendars, so it might be that each job code is not separated out, but maybe it's like a category of jobs, just for reference, because I feel like if we put hundreds of job codes into an appendix, either it's going to get to be a million pages or really tiny font.
Or it could be not each job code as a separate line, like you're saying, job codes 13 through 147
Right.
have this.
Perfect. Okay.
Assuming it goes in numerical order. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
I have no idea either.
I
Okay. We are still working on the Article 8 / modification to 6 language, but again, we can continue working on it. We'll just need a little bit more time and should be able to keep bringing it back or keep working toward bringing it back. But are there any other articles that you are ready for, or would you like time to work on that we can work on bringing back together tonight?
We can go ahead and caucus.
Okay, sounds good. How much time would be helpful? I'd love to be able to get to an answer for you by 8:15. I'm working behind the scenes here trying to get some answers.
Let's start with half an hour.
Okay.
And then we can communicate.
Sounds
from
good.
there.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience as we took some time to work with our teams. So we have 2 articles to return to you this evening, and then I believe you have some things you'd like to discuss before we finalize our agenda setting and joint communication. And so we have the 3X staffing article. I am, 1 second, getting back into that is the wrong link. I just reopened the MOU. Okay. So back into Articles 3X. I can't see. Here we are. In Article 3X staffing, we have agreed to much of what you have put in here. Apologies, trying to make it bigger for everyone. There we go. Okay, so this is the hotel version. We are fine with the language that JESPA will be provided all data and methodologies used to determine staffing levels, including workload data, student ratios, and any external benchmarks or recommendations. We have a modification to the ESP work year calendars proposal. What we'd like to state is ESP number of work days plus holidays for all job codes will be provided to JESPA on a yearly basis. So the reason that we struck the language around listing it in the appendix is because job codes constantly change, especially with JESPA. We're adding all the time, and if by chance we get to a 3-year agreement, it could very quickly be out of date. And so what we'd like to do is provide that to you, as well as post it on our internal website and potentially even external website for prospective employees to view, so that it is more accurate and can be updated on an ongoing basis, similar to the monthly report that you receive. And so that's our proposal for that. Otherwise, I believe everything else in this we are in agreement with. We thought this language worked really well. Student contact days plus 4 professional learning days. That's important to us as well. And I think those were the only changes. We will send that over to you. And then I'll switch over to Article 8. On Article 8, this is the leaves article, and it may be confusing for a few people because we're negotiating Article 6 inside of Article 8. So we've left everything in Article 8 as previously proposed. And in the Article 6 proposal, this is a modification to Article 6-6, which is in current language referred to as call-in pay. We have made a proposal/suggestion. Sorry, I'm all over the place, and now you can't see it. Okay, so this actually should not be highlighted in your color. This should be highlighted in our color. Okay, so what we've modified this slightly. So call-in pay applies when an employee is required by the district to report to work outside of and not continuous with their regular workday. That language is already in language, and we're fine to use it as the defining factor, but it already exists as well, just for everyone's reference, in this article, currently 661, but proposal to 6621. We propose striking this second sentence because this isn't current practice, and it potentially could be a pretty exponential cost. However, we do believe that all time outlined here would be paid at an employee's regular hourly wage unless overtime is triggered or as indicated below. And we've been really specific to call out the time in which this is happening that I think is one of your interests. And so in the last 6624, Hourly employees who are called into work during the winter break district closure will be compensated at 1.5 their normal hourly wage. And so we acknowledge that this is current practice and that you are hoping to get it into language. And so we wanted to be really specific about that instance that is occurring to put into language. Any immediate questions?
Is your intent that that overlaps with like 621, that it's a minimum of 3 hours as well?
Yes, and I wondered if that would be implied or if we might need to actually restate that. Either way is fine.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, I will turn it over to whichever of you want to speak.
So on the modify workday calendars that will be posted, so that'll be a living, changing thing?
That would be our intent, and we would be really specific about when it changes. We would make sure that you were notified of, like, this is a new job code that was added. Oftentimes we've done that in like red lines if we ever make changes, like the employee handbook, for example. We have like a whole thing down below the employee handbook that says what changes have occurred. But yeah, we can work that out and make that happen.
So based on that, we can tentatively agree to 3X staffing as amended last.
I like the double tentatives. Okay.
And as such, on Article 12 grievances that was TA'd, there are a couple little minor housekeeping things, but we'll hand it back to you for that.
It's 9 o'clock. We've made progress, but there's still some items, healthcare, compensation, and a few other issues out there. We would like to figure out a date that we can come back with JCEA, and we tentatively have scheduled that as July 31st. So we want to see if the district would open to a return to bargaining on July 31st. And in the meantime, we could continue to work on some of the data that we need for healthcare, as well as understanding the district's compensation proposal, particularly maybe being able to meet at a time when Brenna is here, where we can just meet with her and discuss and go through numbers and look at modeling, et cetera. So we would pause here, and instead of meeting again next week, use that time maybe to meet with Brenna and then come back with JCEA on July 31st.
Any questions about that from this team? All right, we are certainly amenable to that. We appreciate that both teams still feel as though we are making progress and working together, and that we might need some time to gather additional information and get some clarity. And so we appreciate that willingness to reschedule and come back together. And please, in the meantime, as you work to schedule things, if there's additional information you need in between time, don't hesitate to reach out and be real specific about what it is that we can provide and as quickly as possible. So just so everyone in the room is and watching online is aware, that means that the articles that we still have outstanding will bring back either on July 31st or on dates scheduled after that. And so they just remain open. Mm-hmm. And I think the articles, just to check me and to make sure we're on the same page, Article 1, and we've all understood that that's our definition article. We'll make sure we get to that. Article 3, this is bargaining procedures. I'm modifying the full words, but bargaining procedures. And our hope is that Article 6 And 3 might work in tandem because we're looking to get to a 3-year agreement. So Article 6 remains open. Article 7, which is benefits, that's part of the joint bargaining conversation. Article 8 is the leaves article that we just proposed back to you. And so you'll have that one. And then Article 16 is the FNS, Food and Nutrition Services article. And then the recognition article, once you are okay with the MOU, you said you'd be okay with the language in that article?
Correct.
And or do you want to hold the MOU until July 31st? I mean, MOUs kind of aren't part of the agreement, so if you want to work on that offline, we can do that as well. Oh, totally, please.
And the winner is, we are prepared to TA Article 8 leaves with the proposed change to 6, as well as TA the recognition and outsource and bargain unit work, as well as the MOU.
This is something to celebrate. So we have gotten through a vast majority of our articles. So 1, 3, 6, 7, and 16 remain open. All right. And we will plan, oh, I'm sorry. We can go through, obviously agenda setting would just include those articles, I assume, and then potentially joint benefits bargaining conversation with JCEA. And so should we go right to joint communication? Jen's battery is dead. And so I am happy to.
We didn't do it last week. We can.
Are you okay skipping it? I mean, we're pretty good at just saying, here's what we did.
We're okay skipping.
Okay. And if there's anything on the agenda you see that's inaccurate, let us know, because that's really what we do is follow the agenda when we write it, as you know. All right, then we will adjourn for the evening, and we will see you back here on July 31st at the table. Everyone who's watching and in the audience, please do join us. Otherwise, we will engage in conversations to provide information in between time. Thank you, everyone.